take that music off. I think we are live. Is that true? Sweet. Kevin, you can hear me? No, Kevin can't hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I was
All
muted.
right. Yeah, that was weird, bro.
I
All
lost my
right.
tab there.
There you go. Okay, it is Thursday again. Man, week's just flying by, bro. Oh.
They fly by so fast.
I know. That's good though. You're busy, so
It
that's good.
is. It is.
All right. So we have to I think finish some of the work we were doing. I'm gonna turn my tail scale back on. Let me switch over to my machine here, I guess. So I'm gonna, where is it? Here. I'm gonna turn my tail scale back on.
Okay.
And I think I have to do the tail scale up or something, right?
Yep. Tail scale up.
That's weird. I was trying to go into history and this whole thing went, whoa, that was weird. Control R, make, tail scale. Wow. What is that thing there, man? Wasn't it tail scale up? Like I
Yep.
don't have that in history. I have never seen my terminal like bug out like that before. Now I'm like concerned. Yeah, I don't know. Really weird. All right, let me just run this anyway. Okay, so that's running. Let's go back to our notes, sort of see where we left off yesterday. Oh, it was 2 days ago, wasn't it? Okay.
Yep.
UI coloring issue with connections and drops. Need the handshake for the new TCP connections in bind. Drop TCP connections or double click. So we do have the arrow working now when we sort of connect. And we can't test the removal of the arrow because we don't have another sort of double click drop sort of event. So, and we said that if we wanted to see that we had a two-way connection, we would need a handshake because after you establish a socket connection, we don't necessarily know who that is on the other end, right? So that's, we talked about that being in the, here, in the bind, right? So
Yep.
just like we sort of hacked a handshake on the WebSocket side, I think we're going to want to hack a handshake sort of here. So I think the idea would be something like this. I have a reader. We also have a writer, don't we, on the TCL connection. So it would be, I mean, we can keep this super simple, right? On this bind, we have a socket connection now.
Okay.
We could do something like this. I mean, it could be JSON even. And just say, let's do it this way instead. Let's just say we did struct, and I wouldn't use event here. I'd say user ID, right? Do it this way. And then the user ID is this, right? No, but the client user ID is actually an IP address. So that was our problem, right? It was an IP address.
That was the issue.
That was the whole issue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the question then is, the question was, okay, okay. Let me think about this mental model again. I have a cap.
Yep.
Here's my cap. Well, everything's reversed here. So here's my cap. Here's Kevin. Kevin establishes a socket connection to me. And I need to know who Kevin is. So actually what might need to happen is on this side of the client bind, is that your actual user ID? Or is that... Yeah, I imagine that we're using...
I
I
thought
don't
that was
remember if this is your
IP.
actual... I need to see this log. Because this log is going to happen on... No. This log happens when I do the connection. Okay. Think about this again, Bill. Kevin's connecting to you. When Kevin connects to you, we're going to end up here. In fact, I think what has to happen is not a write, but a read, immediate read here. I think what I have to do is go into an immediate read string sort of scenario. Let me do it this way. It's going to be a client reader. Oh, but I don't know what that is. So do it like this. So we get the new reader, and I use the reader there as well, right? So basically, I wait for you to send me a read string. Maybe I
Okay.
even give you only 5 seconds to do that, right? So I give you 5 seconds to do that. Now, here's my problem now. See, on the bind, I don't have an error sort of thing. However, what I can do at least is this. We'll have a return, right? Server bind, sort of handshake, wait. And then what I could do is just say client.con.close. See? Just drop it. So you have 5 seconds to send me the information. What I really just need is a user ID, right? I don't need anything else. So I could argue that I just want the user ID, but let's just say that you're giving me that in JSON. So, and let's say I get that back, right? The problem is that I think this user ID, we assigned it to, it was really, probably user ID was bad sort of thing, because foundation. I want to know if I can replace the user ID. This is what I want to know, right? So when we create a client for the first time, start new client, right? You see the user ID we're defining as, that's what we're putting in the client's map. So I can't replace so user ID was bad name, I think, because that user ID is really a bad name, because that's really the IP address, and that's what we're using for the key here, right? Like that's on the server side. On the manager side, we do the same thing. No, we don't. On the manager side, we're actually using a user ID. Okay. This is interesting, right? Because on the manager side, we control what the ID is going to be. On the server side, this is why it's confusing. We can't control that because it's just sort of coming in. So we ended up using the IP address for the user ID on the server side, because we don't know. This is what we're trying to do. Now, what that makes me think is that we're going to need, oh man. All right, let me tell you where my head is now. This TCP client is what I need. Okay. We're using the user ID as a key
Okay.
in our manager list, right? And our manager list is based on clients, and clients manages based on some string, okay? And when we're dealing with the client manager, we ask for the key essentially for this thing. I mean, that's what that user ID is anyway. It's really a key, okay? And then on the server side, we can't ask for a key, so we use the IP address. So the first thing my brain is saying is that maybe what we need to do I'm going to get rid of this for a second, okay?
Yep.
Maybe what we need to do is have a key. All right, so that's some key that we're aware of. And I'm just going to do this for now. Okay? So
All
it's a
right.
key. Then what I'm going to do here is change this to be a key. Okay? Do that for now. Change that to be a key. And change this to be the key. Okay?
All right.
So we're not using user ID for anything. Oh. And it's just going to complain about this. So I'm just going to do this for now. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the manager and we dial, I'm going to change this to be a key. Okay?
Okay.
I'm also going to change this to be a key. And I'm going to change this API to ask for a key. Let's do this here first. So you're going to ask for a key, right?
Yep.
Fine. And on the client's side, what we're going to do is ask for a key, right? Okay. So at that point, everything is sort of key based. And even this, right? Find a key. That is a weird log right there. I feel like our log, shouldn't our logger be an internal logger? I feel like the format is wrong. Hold on. Oh no, event type,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
address format. Oops, sorry.
Mhm.
Event type, IP address, and then some format any, right? Okay. So I'm going to hit Control Z just to remember where I was. Right. So, right. Okay. That was a key. Fine. And that's a key, right? So I'm going to change this all over to this idea of a key. No more user ID. So I shouldn't see user ID here. I shouldn't see the idea of a user ID other than it being commented out. Good. Clients, no user ID, server and manager. Okay, so now we have the idea of a key. On the client manager side, that key is going to be the user ID. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So when we do a dial here, we do a dial, and the dial comes back. Okay, we're going to do the following here. Now I'm going to add user ID back here. Okay. And I'm going to change. Oh, this should have said key. I'm going to do this. But it would also be nice to set the user ID. I'm just going to do this as well. I'm going to play this out, okay?
All right.
I don't know if we have to return it. Okay, so think of this as some metadata now that we can add. We could even make this more generic, but instead of user ID, we could have called it some metadata or something, right? Like, or user data, but let's just keep it as user ID for a minute. So what do we now know? I've got the ability to set a user ID and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the manager for a minute. There's some place in this code where we hit dial. It's right in here.
Yep.
Okay. No, it ain't there.
No.
Where do we use dial? I would have thought we used it in app domain or something.
We have dial TCP,
Dial, right?
but
Dial, establish a new connection on the client manager. Let's follow this route down for a second.
Yep.
Chat.dial TCP connection. That's the call to dial right there, which was in chat
bus.
Right here, chat bus.
Yep.
Right. So what's interesting to me, what's really interesting to me, maybe it's like cursor breaking. That's the client manager dial right here. I would have thought this editor should have. Oh, because there's an interface. Freaking hate interfaces. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So look, come back here for a minute. Again, I did that again. Dial. Okay, so now this returns the TCP connection, right?
Yep.
This returns the client, which I wasn't using before. So that's what I'm thinking right there.
Set the user ID. Okay.
So now we have even though we're going to use the user ID as a key, okay, just for consistency, we also just set it under this user ID here. All right. Now, this is the other part here that becomes important because this is where I want to send the ID here on this dial side. Okay.
That was because essentially before we didn't know who they were. So we want to
don't
do
know
this
who they are.
handshake so we can get it, their actual ID. Okay.
Yeah, at this point we don't know who they are. So the idea here now is I have a client.writer and I'm going to do a JSON here. JSON.marshal. handshake, I'm going to get some data and or an error, right?
Yep.
If error, yeah. Fine. I don't know why you got to bring me up here for that, but I got to come back down. And you write the data, and this is going to return and or an error. Where we do something like this. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So the idea is once we establish a connection, let's just say I add it for, I don't know if I want to add it right away. Like ideally, maybe we add it after all that works, right? All right. We could even just do this. Just use the same thing. Move this down here. So let's play this out, right? We dial a connection. If there's no error, we've established a socket connection. Then we take our user ID. Okay. We convert it to JSON. We write that out. So we send that bop. Now, this, though, is looking for a carriage return line feed at the end, isn't it? So we need to, how did we do that before with the other thing? Like, there must be some code here with an append somewhere. Oh, I think we just did
There.
that, didn't we?
Right string. Okay.
Just do something like that. So if I come back to this, yeah, because I'm not like turning it into a buffer or anything like that, but
Yep. Okay.
so just do that, right? Probably should check for an error here. So there's the handshake part, right? We just do a write. And then we set the user and we add the TCP connection. The question is, do we want to wait for an acknowledgement that I got it? Or do we just say, send this information and we're going to move on? So let's just say we do this, right? Just one way.
Okay.
I'm not going to wait for an ACK on that. So once we
Got it.
connect, we're going to send this JSON document, okay? Now what that means is, and then we set the user ID here. On the client manager side, no, that was the dial side here. On the server side, that's going to happen here now. So on the server side now, we do and we wait, right, for the read to happen. Then we know on the read, sometimes it's interestingly smart here, but
Okay. So let's do.
so we wait, we do that, we unmarshal it, and now I have a user ID, right?
Yes.
Boom. Now I
Got
have a
it.
user
Okay.
ID.
So we're unmarshalling it and then we're setting it.
And then I
And
think with that in place, we can send to the UI the user ID for the user that connected. See?
okay.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah. Oh, fun.
And
Okay.
if in 5 seconds we don't get that, we just close everything. And if that fails, we'll just close it. This could work, bro. It's I mean, not much of a hack. Like maybe you can be a little bit more strong, but at least you connect. You say, okay, this is who I am. All this is happening at the business layer, which is perfect, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So now the key portion of that, how did that work again? Where now, like instead of being an IP,
Well, on the client side, the key is the same as the user ID. So
okay,
when we establish the connection to the cap, we're controlling the
yeah,
key. But on the
okay,
server side, when we accept a connection, we're using the IP address as the key because we don't know
oh, okay, because we
any
don't know,
better.
yeah,
We don't know
okay,
any better until we go through that protocol bump. And then at that point, we'll we just set the
yeah. Once
right.
we have that information that we're
We
getting
don't
because of
change
the
the
handshake,
key. We can't change the key, but we can set this metadata, right? So what I
got
think
it.
now
Okay,
is going to happen is we should be able to get the other arrow on both sides. So let me um, add it. So just like added a handshake, right, for TCP. Okay, so I'm going to run the make run cap, right?
yep.
Make run TUI. And
I'm up and running as well.
okay, so let's do this first. I'm going to connect to you, okay?
Yep.
I have the arrow. Okay, hold on a second.
I see the handshake and I see the user ID
Okay, you try to connect to me.
connected.
Okay, let's see what happened here. So I have a log here. That's bad logging. Then I got your user ID. That was good. And then I don't think the other part happened. Well, that would be down here, and I don't. No, we should see
TCP.
information that I set. So let me look at my logging for a second. All this, these two first things are not bad, right? So
Yeah.
business, TCP. Um, so honestly, this should be, maybe we should do key here, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So that would have been the key. The handshake. Server
Server
bind
bind, handshake,
the line.
line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe from a logging perspective, just put JSON here, right? Okay. So we saw that.
Yeah.
Then we did the unmarshal. We set the user ID. Then I'm going through the UI connections, and we should have sent a from to 0 false message. Now, I did see this.
I do see that client bind was also blank. It's also empty. I don't know if you have. I see server bind, but I have a client bind log.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same issue here.
Their user ID.
Oh, the bind. Yeah, I think the bind is happening. The bind is happening before we. The bind is happening before we get to run that other code,
Oh, okay.
because that other code happens after we've the bind. So I honestly, that's what that should look like. So that's fine. I'm not worried about that right now. What I'm worried about is that I'm worried about I don't know if this part happened. So that event, TCPCon, now I gotta remember all that code is, which is this, right? Receive a cap message. If not an event, read a message, incoming, query, if message equals 0, no message. If the message is not an event message, check the nonce. Oh, then we moved everything in here, right? Okay. Oh, so you see this?
Yep.
TCP connection established. Okay.
Yeah.
But what we should have done is said from that, right? Now, this part didn't work.
See,
Now,
that's the
oh, I
other
got the
arrow.
wrong ID.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. We got the wrong ID in the handshake, didn't we? So let's take a
For
look at
me,
that.
it added that other arrow to
Yeah,
my
no, no.
ID as a new
You should
contact.
have been, yeah, you should have been, we got to get rid of that 0. No, when this came in,
There it
okay,
is.
that's
Yep.
bad, right? So
It did
we're going
it
to have
to
to clean
you.
that up. That's me. That's my ID. So
Yeah.
somehow we sent the wrong ID. So let's do the following. I'm going to kill both of these, okay? I'm going to go in and clean up my database again. I shouldn't see me in there, and I shouldn't see that. Okay.
Let me do the same.
Now, the question is, I wish I hadn't killed the logs. Did I kill the logs? No. When I did the dial TCP connection, I should see this in the log. TUI user, client user, that was right. I said manage with that client user. Then when I did the handshake, I used the client user ID, which is this. Okay, hold on. So in your logs, the client user ID would have been yada,
For
yada, yada, yada. Okay, wait a second. Maybe I shouldn't be sending the client user ID here. I should be sending me.
Yeah, it might be the other. It might be flipped.
Yeah, that's who I should be sending. I should be sending who
The
I am.
TUI.
Yeah, okay, that's gonna fix it. Okay, let me fixing handshake bugs. It's always hard sometimes to remember what side of this you're on.
Yeah,
Okay, pull
we've run into
latest,
that a lot.
do a run cap, run TUI. Let me know when
Okay,
you're up and running.
up and running.
So let me do this first. I don't know why that didn't scroll. Okay, establishing
Okay,
peer connection with Kevin. Now,
TCP. I got the message in
no,
my
but I
chat
didn't
this time.
get all I. Okay,
I got
hold
that
on.
message that you changed. I got the TCP connection established from
Ah, okay.
because you're connecting with me. So like I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it
So
from your ID
I should fix this one too to say
too.
I don't know where that happens. This one should say to
Should
yeah
say
this right.
yeah.
So that should say that. All right, it's fine. I don't have to push that right away, but that's better. Now,
And I do have the arrow in the right spot now,
oh sweet.
facing
So connect to me.
facing right. So now if I connect to you,
That's pretty cool.
it works now.
Probably don't need the space in there, but we'll deal with that later. And TCP
Cool.
connection established from, yeah. Which we
Establishing
could
peer
probably even
connection
look that up
with.
and say Kevin at some point. So
It would be
that's
name instead, right?
yeah,
Instead of
yeah. We
ID.
can. That's all little stuff. But
Hmm.
the good part is that right now we know we have a two-way connection. And now if I say, I say, hey Kevin,
Yep.
and I also think we should mark that as it's gone TCP or not, right? So here's the next thing. I want you to kill your TUI.
Okay.
Wait, before you do it. Before you do it. All right, kill your TUI.
Killed.
Dude, it worked.
And
Look at my
then I'll
screen.
bring it back up. Nice. TCP connection dropped. Okay. And then now I'll connect again.
They're
Connection established.
fucking badass, bro. Badass. Like
Very cool.
all the little UI stuff can be cleaned up, but we probably don't want the extra space in there, but
Very
um,
cool.
we now know when we're in a TCP connection or not in a TCP connection, right?
Yeah. Very
Also, it
nice.
would be nice to see this one here, right? TCP connection dropped. TCP connection dropped. Do we know dropped? Yeah.
From or yeah. Or dropped with. Dropped from.
Right. So we now have the arrow thingy stuff working, right?
Yeah.
Shit. Where is that code though? I know we hit it all in one little place, but oh, here, right? It would be nice, I think, if we didn't have the space for the double arrow, but that one's sort of hard to do unless like we kind of clean it up at the end here, you know, where
Yeah.
like this is what I'm thinking. Again, these are little hacks, bro, but you know, replace.
Yeah.
Like really shitty way to do it, but guess what?
It'll get the job done.
it will it'll get the job done. Now what was this here? Add. Oh, for adding. Oh, or we're removing. Right. Yeah. That will get the job done. All right, we could try it real quick. That's all UI stuff, right? All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run. Now, here's a problem. You still have a TCP connection with me. And I don't know about it because now when I come up, there's state that I'm not aware of, right? I'm going to fix that. Like when I came up, I should have known that you are already TCP established, right? So drop your
makes sense.
drop your UI and then reconnect, and we got to think about that problem. This is why I hate UI, bro.
Okay, and connecting with you.
See now we got rid of the extra.
Yeah,
shit.
and now I see one. Yeah, and I only see one arrow, but really you're connected to me
How do
still.
you only see one out? Oh, again, it's the same problem.
Yeah, that same issue.
Okay, let me push this code. Okay, so we have the arrows working. All right, git push. So we're really close here now. We're using WebSockets, TCP connections, NATs. You got to really start from the beginning at this point because I don't even know how many shows in we are right now, dude. Okay. Oh, there's a whole set of UI cleanup we have to do. Like, I hate UI, bro. All right, now we have a problem. When the UI comes up, okay, and we get to app run, which is UI run. It's after new, I guess. Yeah, that locks everything in. Okay. So we need some way of getting state from the cap now to help with the UI, right?
Yeah.
Because up until now, there wasn't any sort of state that we cared about. So it's almost like the cap. If you go back to app here, domains, chat app, routes, I think what we need, maybe the connect call can return state. Oh, but the connect call creates a WebSocket connection, so
It's a
that
WebSocket,
we
not
can't
a
really mess on that.
TCP.
I wouldn't mess with that. So I think we could do a get call and ask for state. That way, after we come up, we make a call to state, and at least right now, we could get back socket information, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I just keeping the gets together here, but um, just for now, just to keep the monster at bay, we can have our. Oh, why did you do that? All right, we have our state call. Now, we need a state model, don't we?
Yeah.
It's more like our state
And this is
response.
only going to be for TCP connections.
For now,
Okay.
and ideally, what we need is a set of user IDs that we have connections with. That's what we need. So, and then we got to write the encoder for this. I have a decoder there. I don't have any encoders. The encoder interface is this. Oh, I always forget what that's supposed to look like. It's not really that. And it's not that for sure. Let me go open up the service because off the top of my head, I just don't remember. I could look at any of these domains and I'll find it very quickly. Hold on. Should have been an encode. Oh, here it is.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah, let me take this. All right, thank you very much. Don't need you anymore. There.
Let's see.
What are you complaining about? Oh, why did
The
I? Oh, because I took the interface and for
mm,
documentation purposes, I named the return arguments. So that's why. So that encode will let us send that down as JSON, right? Ivar's asking a lot of questions, so I think you're gonna have to go back to some of the videos for this stuff. Okay, so now it's a matter of being able to get the list of TCP connections that we have. We're gonna have to do that through the chat business package. And the chat business package does have the, oh, we have a connection map, don't we? I think our connection map is what we need here. Let's see again. Yeah, this is our add a TCP connection, right? And drop a connection. So here's the add, here's the drop, and we did all that work. Right, we kept this map. Why do we, what else do we do with this map that we kept it? Like I feel like we needed this to track, but I don't
we
see
did.
us sort of iterating over it, right? Oh, we needed to make sure maybe that
User ID. Range through, there it is. Range TCP connection map. Retrieve.
oh, because of this logic here, being able
Yeah.
to close it, we needed a list of it.
Yeah.
So I think now what we need is a sort of collection of TCP connections, right? I don't even think we need an error. I think we have TCP connections. The question now is I need a R lock, but I think we did everything with a regular lock just because of before. So we're going to need to lock. Maybe here we can just do a count, which would be a count of this just for some logging, right?
Yeah.
And then what we're going to have to do is, or maybe I don't like that. Maybe we'll just, remember this is a map of, we only care about the key because what we care about is, if we look at the ad for a second, right? We're saying that our TUI, this TUI is connected to this. Oh, we need to know what TUI this is. Okay, we've got to change this thing to say user ID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because
That changes it to,
for a
remember
given
we can,
user ID, it'll give all
yeah,
their who they're connected to. Okay.
right. I don't like any of this, but I know at least right now that it's going to be something similar. So the idea is that our TCP connections function wants to know the TUI user ID. That's what we need. All right. And then based on that, this was right. And this is right. And then we can create our, essentially, we can create our, I don't think it is a map or a slice. It's a slice. So we can do this. I think we can do that. I don't know if this, yeah, I think that's fine. So based on that, then we have a set of users that you're essentially, now we could do this just to be type better on this side, right? Just to be type, more type driven, okay? So should use copy, okay? Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, because now we're not doing a conversion, right? So
Okay.
we could just copy that in directly, and I wouldn't want to share this slice. Just there's no reason to do that. We'll just give it its own copy. So look, now we've got TCP, a set of users for those TCP connections, right? So we come back up here, and on the web parameter side, given that, give me a set of connections. Now, so here's something, right? I think we could keep this model, sorry, common address. So if I come back here, should be able to do that. Now it didn't like what a common address is. It's just a slice at the end of the day of bytes. So this should work. It's just a slice of bytes. Should be able to bring it down. Either that or we have to convert or do some work here and convert it to a string. Let's see what we get back because I don't know how this is gonna play out. I think we've been using strings this whole time, but You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think to be safe, because I didn't see any marshalling functions for the common address when I looked at it. I didn't see any marshalling function. Let me just put this back for a second.
Oh, Marshall.
Oh, Marshall text. Oh, Marshall
On
text is what
Marshall.
we need. So then we should be fine.
On
Marshall text
Marshall.
should kick in here, and we should get what we need. So that's perfect. So at least now we can get these connections. Now the question is, where do we do it in the TUI? So come back to the TUI and let's go through main for a second, right? We got the Olama, we got a client, we did the handshake. Then we're going to do the app run. App run calls UI run, and then we end up in an interface for the UI package. So my guess is that maybe we do it in new. Can we do it in new? Here's UI new. But until we do a handshake, we can't do anything. Because the app handshake is probably establishing a socket connection, right?
Yeah.
Well, who cares? I don't need a socket connection right now. I just need state. So
Yeah.
I think we might be able to do this in new. And if we could do this in new, we have the state we need to render the UI, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That would.
So
But
like
that
this
wouldn't
is
update.
well, this would update. This all gets updated on new, right? And
Okay.
then after new, we do all the client stuff, and then we have the app run, which basically is this. So we have two choices. We can do it in the app run side before we do anything else, right? In other words, we had a function called something like UI dot um, like update state, all right? And then we have and then we do the final stuff here. Now, we make some API calls already, don't we? I mean, that's a handshake. But where is the call to TCP connect? Like, that's an interesting question. That's already in client,
Client.
right? Establish a
Yeah.
TCP connection where we sort of, again, there's so much boilerplate code here that we could sort of leverage, right? So let's say I called this, whoa, what file is this in? This is in client, right? What if we called this get state, where, now we need this model again, don't we? Oh man, what a, just hacking away, bro. I hate hacking, dude. I freaking hate it. Hate it to no end. I hate it. Okay. So what do I know about this here? Let me steal. this code for now. I don't know what else to do just yet. So, okay. So in this case, we're going to be hitting the state API, right?
Okay.
Um, let's ask for a context to do that with.
Yep.
We're going to be using a get call.
Mhm.
And we need a parameter. So we need the TUI user ID coming in, right? And we have to do that. Okay, so that's our URL call. It's really bad I hard coded HTTP there, but yeah, you see how I hard coded the protocol?
Yeah.
This app URL should have had the protocol in it. I don't understand where we're setting that.
There.
This should have had the protocol in it. I don't know why we. I don't
Where
know why
else
we
are we
didn't.
using that?
I think we're using it on the WebSocket, and that's why I didn't do it. Because on the
Okay.
WebSocket, we're hard coding the protocol. But whatever, like, it's not our biggest problem right now, right? But this is going to bite us in the ass because eventually, if we wanted to do this and run the cap in production or something, right, we're not going to do it over HTTP. So that's bad. But whatever, we
Got
know
it.
about it, so it's fine for now. Request, we do it. Now, in our case here, if it equals status no content, that would be bad. So I think if it doesn't equal status okay, then we've got to return. Now, this thing doesn't really return an error. It just does its thing, right? Like there's no potential error here. So what I would say is if it does this, I'd call it just request error for now. Um, and I also think there's shit. But that's just an integer. I forgot off the top of my head how to turn that into a string. There's a way to do that. I don't remember how to do it. Like there's some status text. There it is. There. See? Okay. So we should get the okay. Then if we get the okay, actually this would even be better. We can eliminate the but we need state response. Okay. Let's do this. So I hate having the model there, but like I said, we need a massive cleanup at some point, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
So we should be able to decode that, and we should be able to return the state. Okay. Right. So now we've got a function here called get state that is going to make that endpoint call and get us back these common addresses. That's at the app level.
Which are the connections from like our
Any
user,
TCP
essentially.
connections that we had right now.
Any TCP. Okay. Yeah.
So I don't want to leave this function here, but I'm just going to code it here for a minute. So that's interesting, right? Though I don't know if that will ever get written because we didn't set the root yet. So I don't know if that actually works. You know what I'm saying? But what do we know for a minute? We already had a function, don't we? That does all this work. It's called apply
Contact prefix.
Okay, so this may not work because of where we're putting this, but that's super interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
We may have to, it might work just on the draw. It might do the automatic draw, but we're setting everything. This is interesting to try. This is interesting to try. And to see if we broke anything else. So let me just bring this up first. And let's just see what happens before I push it over to you. Okay,
I'm
so
up and running.
that was cool. Yeah. I mean, that said okay. We didn't have anything. So I'm going to do the following then. How come that's not, oh, it is. Oh. So the goal is establish a TCP connection.
Yep.
Is it not working now?
Doesn't seem like it.
Ugh. I'm not even getting anything from you.
Did
Did the
no.
tail scale die? There's nothing we did that could have
No.
broken.
If I try
Hold
and
on.
hit
All right. I just got it. I don't
I
know.
hit you.
Yeah. I wanted you to connect to me.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because what I want to do is now kill my UI,
Yep.
come back, and let's see what happened here. So TCP connections was 0. So we're probably using the wrong ID again or something. So hold on here. When I did
State, you're using year ID.
request started state. I might be using the wrong.
It should be year
That's
ID
me.
though.
I would think because you're still connected to me. Check user. Yeah. Okay, let's just take a look at our code again. I think we're close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for sure, I did this right. I said, show me all the connections for me. But what we have to do is, you know what? I think this map is not what we need. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me think this out one more time.
Yep.
When we connect, I got to go to the business layer for a minute. Yeah, we got bad variable names again. When we connect, right? These are connections that Bill here is establishing with Kevin there. So when I add this, I say Bill established with Kevin. These are my connections with you. So that would have worked if
Ooh.
I connected, dropped, and
If you
came back,
connected,
right? So watch.
yeah.
So that would have worked if let me connect with you, right? Then I
Yep.
drop off. Now I come back. That should have worked there because now I established a connection with you. That's going to say, oh, but I dropped it. So that's why that worked again. I didn't have it. Okay. Hold on. So these connections are not the ones I want to use because these are my connections. I need to know about the incoming connections that didn't drop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So hold on a second. So this is not about what's in this map.
No.
This is going to be about what's in this TCP client manager. Okay, hold on. This is going to be about,
Yeah, it's not about your like
it's not
your
about
outgoing
these.
essentially. It's more like the incoming, like who's connected to you and still active.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this a little closer now. The client manager has a set of clients. These are clients that are connected to the CAP. Client manager. No, because the client manager is for the outbound connections. Client manager is not going to help me either with the inbound connections. The server has a set of clients that are connected to it. The server does. The server does. See that server clients? Even though
Yeah.
it's just giving me counts. Okay, so hold on a second now. Where is the server side of this whole thing? Because that's what we have to find. Here's the server side. See that?
Yeah.
I need to access the server side to get this information. I need this TCP server. TCP server. And I don't pass that into the bus because we haven't needed to. So I think what we have to do is add the TCP server to this. 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 So now I have the TCP server, right? Now the TCP server, it doesn't give me, I can get a count, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Let's
being
return to
used
second.
anywhere. But what else can I get out of this? I can get the clients based on their, I can get the clients back. But this is gonna, I need this at a user ID, right? So
Yes.
not at a key level. This, in my case, has to be at a user ID level. So let's play this out for a second. So server dot clients dot find, but find uses a key, so that's not good. Yeah. What we need is in our, what is this anyway? This is clients. We need to be able to find the user ID, right? Now, this gets harder because now what we have to do is essentially that. We have to do that. For a given user ID, hold on. Let's go back here for a second. I'm trying to figure out who is connected to the cap. I need to know everybody that's connected to the cap. I don't necessarily want to filter this. I want to know everybody that's connected to the cap. That's what I need right now. Right?
Yeah.
All the clients connected to the cap in this sort of form. But the clients, right? I don't need a find user ID. That's silly. I sort of need a copy of the whole list. I need this copy call first.
Copy. Okay. Yeah.
This brings me back the map of.
That gives you the full list.
Now, here's the question. The map is a bunch of clients and their client itself. So I can change this to return clients, right? That's what we get back. A slice of clients. But yeah, because that's the key. I need the IDs, right? So what if we did this? Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
The problem here is that this will need an append. So we'll have to do this. I don't need the key. And this will be an append. So the idea now is that I just get back the user ID, right? For all the clients.
Okay.
By user ID. Cool.
Interesting.
I now have
Okay.
this list on the server side. So what that now means to me is yeah, you know what? I don't even need the user route. I don't need this anymore because it doesn't matter. I'm going to get rid of that. That's not going to matter. So come back here for a second. Now we're going to say server clients. We just got back a set of users. Okay. Now the problem here is that we can't just do a copy anymore. Sometimes I don't know what triggers it to try to help me or not, but let's keep this. Okay. Stop trying to help me. Let's see if that's right. Yes, that's what I want. See, now I got back users. It doesn't matter which client's connected because you got to look at your own list anyway, right?
Okay.
Now, maybe I'm leaking some information, but for now, that's sort of fine. So that means that that's chat bus. That means here, I don't need this anymore. I don't need that anymore. Even this, I didn't need context anymore. I'm not using it, right? Oh, I am using it on the log. Okay, fine. So now this should work because now I'm getting exactly what I need, which is server connections. All right, let's see what happens. The other thing is when I drop, it drops anyway, right? So the state isn't there. Okay, let me restart this before I send it to you.
Yep.
So this time I need you to connect again.
Okay. Connected.
Okay, you've connected. Okay. Now I'm going to drop. We'll come back up. Fuck. Oops. So let's see what happened here now. Where's my call to? Oh, I may have broke the state call because I don't need to pass that anymore, and I forgot to change that. That's my side here.
Okay.
So it didn't find a
There
route.
looks like there's an issue with the arrows as well
Oh,
on my
well,
side.
let's do this first.
Yeah. One thing at a time.
Get state. Okay, let's see what happens. I should be able to just do this. Okay. It still says 0 connections.
Hold on, I killed mine.
Oh, okay.
So let me connect to you. Now I'm
Okay, now you're
connected.
connected. Okay. There it is. Now, we did have a problem with the, no, we don't have a problem. Now, okay. So that just worked.
Yeah. So now if how
So
do we
let
do
me
it?
push this code up.
Yeah.
All right, let me push this code up.
Let's see. Because something, it looked like to me like an arrow wasn't replaced or something like that. It just kept adding arrows
Oh,
if
really?
I kept mine up while you connected to me.
All right, pull latest. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some. So you drop now. So that's fine.
Yeah. And then now I'm
What we
coming
do
back up.
though, what we do have an issue is if I'm not on you and you connect, I
It
got a
was just a star.
star. It wasn't an arrow. We got to deal with that.
Okay.
But
So I connect to you.
I'm going to connect to you.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're going to connect to me.
Connected.
Now I'm going to drop.
Yeah,
And we're running.
that's where I see the arrow happen.
But this is good.
The
You
arrow.
should, right? I see that you're still connected.
Yeah, your side's good. So now let's do the same thing, but me disconnecting. So you can see. So
Wait a second though. Oh, I was already connected. Right.
So now if I connect to you after I killed my TUI, now I'm connecting to you. And then if how did we
Oh,
just do
that's
it?
bad. Yeah. So
Okay, there it is. You saw it. It's when I connect again and then I kill it.
you connected, you killed it, and then we didn't handle the drop properly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
when I
because I
connect
still
it
see
again.
mine, but we got double arrows there, right?
Yeah. So like if I connect to you
Yeah,
again
because
now.
now we've got this arrow thing.
Exactly.
All right, we know where that code is.
Yeah.
We're really close though.
Mm-hmm.
Though I never want to deal with this client code ever. If this was like we were going to put this in production, I would spend a week just
Just cleaning.
refactoring. The server side is good. This client code is it's embarrassing, is what it is. I wonder. Oh no, it can't be this. Everything happens here, right? So I'm wondering if this didn't get. See how we do the replace all?
Yeah.
Like this doesn't exist anymore because the space is gone. So I'm wondering if we don't do this, okay? We then did this, and then you could do another. There's a way of telling it to get rid of all. We might have to look it up. So what we really want is no double spaces anywhere, right? Like you want to trim
Trim
space, but I think trim space is only on the ends.
with
And
all
that's not what I
leading and
want.
trailing. Yeah.
Yeah. We want some form of trim. So let's try this for a second. All right.
There we go.
Do I remove any sort of double spaces in a string? I think you got to do it with a regex. Yeah. See that?
Regex. Okay.
Yeah. That's what we want. So,
Interesting how yours acted like an ask rather
I'm
than actually
in.
going and making the change.
Oh, I think because of the way I asked it.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just going to hack this again up here. So I think. Obviously, this is final.
There it is. Yep. Something. What is still not happy somewhere? Okay.
Again, really bad code, but it could work for now. Really bad code, bro.
Making it work is the hardest part.
Yeah, and then we can clean it up. But let's see if this code works.
Okay.
So now this
I haven't
says you're still
dropped.
connected, so don't drop. So what was the thing? I connect. Uh-oh. Oh, it's saying that I was connected to you, not you connected to me.
Well, now for me it shows both ways. For
So
me it shows both
so
arrows.
double click. I don't think you were.
Failed to establish TCP connection, already connected.
Whoa. And look what happened here.
Ooh.
This is a nasty bug.
And it said dropped from blank.
Okay, so
Ooh.
we got a couple of problems with this right here. Let's at least look at this. So
Yeah.
it said you were already connected, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't get that information. So
You had the arrow there, but I guess
But
it
I had
didn't.
an arrow going from me, not from you. So we may have broke other
Mm,
things. You're still connected though, right?
I'm still connected. Yeah, it still shows both ways for me.
Um,
And now it did the thing where it dropped and
okay, but I asked for the state and it told me
count.
one. Let me
I'm
log
s-
what. Don't
yeah, I'm
drop.
still
Don't
connected.
drop. Don't drop. Let me log. We broke something, but I think it's um, we broke something. But let me log instead of logging on chat bus. I want to log that. So hold on. Oh, now that you dropped that. Now you dropped.
No, I didn't.
You had to.
System
I reset
TCP.
the thing. So I want you to connect again.
Okay,
See, that's a
connected.
bug. There should be an error there. So that
That's
shows,
incoming.
yeah, that shows that you've got a connection with me.
Yep. And then now,
Wait, don't do anything. Don't do anything.
yeah,
I think this is wrong. I think it's supposed to be using the other arrow.
it is.
It's using
Because,
the wrong arrow.
yeah,
Okay, that might be because of me doing. Where did we do that? Update. Shouldn't lie. This should be this way. That was all me, bro. I had this arrow in the wrong direction. So that's good.
okay. So maybe that
All right, let me push
fixes
this
our
code.
arrow bug.
We got to deal with this one, but let me delete
Yeah,
that, and then we got to deal with. What happened there was that there was a connection already established, right?
yeah. Connection
And
already established. Huh.
when that happened, when that happened, how do we know that a connection's already established? That's the big. All right, we'll have to use the logs. Let me push this. Okay. Take this now. We're going to make a run.tui. You're not connected to me anymore.
No,
Okay. Let me know when you're back up and running.
I'm up.
I'm not connected to you.
Yep, I see that. Looks correct.
Connect to me. Now, if I
I'm
drop
connected.
and I run again, I know you're connected to me. See, that's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to. What happens if you double click?
If I double click on you,
Okay, there's a
I'm
bug
already
here.
connected.
So let's
Yeah.
figure this out. We had a server bind. We had a handshake wait. We had a accept. We had a client started.
And server drop with an empty.
And then we did a server drop. And on your side, yeah, you tried to
Source
connect.
error.
I have to look at that.
Client already connected.
I got a handshake wait server error. See, this here dropped the connection. For some, like, we dropped it here. But the rest of it
Okay.
has to continue to go because, I don't return an error to say like kill the bind, right?
Hmm.
So let's go back and look at this code for a second. I mean, I know it's at some level, I know what's happening. So the code came in here, okay? And you can see here handshake wait error. I
Yep.
got an EOF. And then we continued on. And then, of course, we get the user ID drop. And there's nothing there. So let's play this out a little differently now, okay? Let's say I return an error from here. Let's say that both these binds, let's say that we change bind now to return an error. Okay. And this bind now can return an error. And we do that without forcing a close for now. So what does that mean? It means that there's an interface here that we've defined that now returns an error, correct? Okay. And we'll deal with you in a second as well. So you now return an error. Okay. Just fine. Now, on the server side, now that bind can return an error, this is where we call, where do we call bind? There is a place where we have to call bind. That's read, client read. It's all before this, I think. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to this. We accept. Everything's good. We start a new client connection. We do this, we do this. We go to new client. New client calls bind. Okay. So here's the problem now. We put the bind in here, right? We put the bind under new client.
Mm.
So if we change this now, this could say return an error. Now we can do an if error. You get no client, but you get an error. All right. Now that means the two places that we do this at here, start new client, that can now return an error. I don't know. This can now return an error.
Yeah.
Fine. And then we wouldn't do anything else because we're not going to add it. We're not going to start a go routine, right? Start new client is here. So this is where it gets complicated because if start new client fails, then I think we want to do the close here. then all this should just drop the way it drops, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
let me come back here. This one already returns an error. So we could just return the error like this. Again, none of that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And this, we already handle it on the dial. So this was the tricky one here on the server. So I think now what's going to happen is when you connect, right, on the
Yeah.
server side, and we get into this new client, we call bind. After bind happens, we go into start. How do we know you're already connected? Go into read. Wait,
Already.
where is the logic that adds you to?
Start new client is that log? Yeah. It's there.
You see, look, I accept a connection. We got it. Nothing there. Add this connection to the map. So we come back here. Oh, we try to do a find. That was the close. So I'm not going to do that already. This is it right here. Already connected, right?
Yeah.
So this should clean up some of that mess that we're seeing.
Oh,
When
okay.
you're trying to reconnect and because now I'm returning an error. I'm not even starting a go routine at this point, right? This was all starting go routines and stuff. Though I wasn't starting a go routine, was I? No, I wasn't. But we were in, well, we were in this go, well, this is a go routine that doesn't go away, so. Right. Now we close it there instead of here. I don't think we changed much. But new client shouldn't be getting called. Adding shouldn't get called. All right, let me play this one out
Yeah.
here again.
Okay, so I'm starting fresh here.
Wait, manager 120. Why is the editor not telling me? Maybe I didn't save it. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's play this out again. So shit. Let me kill that. Okay, so you're going to connect.
Connected.
Good. Now you're going to try to connect again.
Connected. Failed. Already connected.
Yeah, and this is much cleaner now because yeah, I'm just server event info EOF error on the accept waiting accept info. So I have to look at these two things, but the handshake now gets an EOF error. So if I walk through this again, now what happened was the second time you try to connect, we get here,
Okay.
come to start new client, start new client, it says try to find this thing. I can't
Yep.
find it. So we say you're already connected.
Because we did find it.
Yeah. The funny thing for me is I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I see that on my side.
You saw that on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it on my side. What I'm seeing is I'm not seeing this. I'm seeing
Handshake wait, right? Is that
I'm
what it is?
seeing
Yeah.
I'm seeing a call to bind,
Yep.
right? And then I'm seeing this
Yep.
EOF. Now, what's confusing to me is how we're getting in here, because when you try to connect, you're coming through this path here, this path. Okay, so here's my waiting, right? I'm now waiting for, now I'm back waiting for a new connection, okay? So this log here was error accept, right? Which would be this log here on the start. Error. So I see this name, type, error accept, EOF. So what's got me weirded out is as if I didn't find this key already. Oh, I won't find this key. You know why? You're going to connect under a different port number. I won't find you.
Oh.
I won't find you. So, yeah, I won't find you because those last digits of your key will always be different on every socket connection. So this is sort of a waste of time on the server side because it will never be the same. This will
Got
never,
it.
we will never hit this.
On
That's
the
just,
server side.
yeah, on the server side, we'll never hit that. So now what happens is I go into new client and I wait and I get into the bind. So I go into new client, okay, and I'm waiting now on the bind. Now, let's look at what happens on the client manager side. So on the client manager side, this gets hit, okay?
Yeah, which is why I see that log.
Right, now, I'm closing the connection there. What if I don't do that? Well, I did it there anyway because we were coming out. So now what happens is I close the connection. But this is silly. I shouldn't let you dial. We shouldn't. Okay, this is our problem here. Oh, but I need to dial first. Do I need to dial? Yes. Well, no, I don't. Let's play this out a little bit. I should do this first. Why am I establishing a connection to then later say that we're already
Yeah, I'm already
connected,
connected.
right?
Let's drop it. Yeah,
So see
that
if
should
I
be
do
first.
this, then we can dial. Then on start, all this goes away. And I could almost argue I mean, we have start on the other side, so I did this. But this is what we need, right? I don't even need. I'm wondering.
Instead of having a start new client function, just use the code. Right?
I think so. I mean, if we had done that, we wouldn't have made this mistake, right?
Yep.
Find it. If it's not already connected, dial new add start bot. See,
Makes
that's on
sense.
the client manager side. On the server side, where we have start new client, right? It's like part of this accept stuff. So it just made sense to put it in its own function. But we'll never know in this case. So I think this will clean up some of that mess. I'm going to push this one. All right, pull this latest. We got 10 minutes left, but I think this was a good. We can go back at what we've got here.
Fixed a good amount of stuff today though.
Yeah, we did. I still have the star issue there, but all right.
Okay.
So you're gonna connect.
Connected.
Now you're gonna try to connect again. I shouldn't see anything. Oh shoot.
I see the already connected.
Try to connect again.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I see the already connected.
I know, but this shouldn't have happened. Are you running latest?
Yeah, I just pulled.
Double check.
I see. I'll restart. Yeah. Latest.
Oh, look,
I didn't restart the cap, but
I got a bug with the space there too on that drop.
okay.
But
So I'm gonna connect again. There's the first connection. And then
oh, that's right. I can't. You're gonna. Oh, yeah. You shouldn't be establishing it. Okay, do it again.
I just did it again.
Try again.
That was one more time.
Yeah, you see, you were running the old code. I should never see
Okay.
you try to connect again because.
Yeah. I didn't restart the cap on the
Yeah.
when I
You
pulled.
start the cap. Now, even if, oh man, even if I need the word errors here.
Yeah,
Even
I should be
if-
seeing that already connected, but not necessarily you.
Right, but even if you do reconnect, right? I mean, we have those other things in play, but this is cleaner. Let me fix this hacking code here. All right, just push. You don't have to pull on this one. I'll do it in a second. So now,
Okay.
all right, now we've got that established. That's all working.
Yep. And I see that.
We still have some space issues and other little issues there.
UI issue.
Yeah, because if you drop, I'll still have my connection with you, but see, we still have these dumb little issues here. So I'm going to do the following. So, okay.
Cap main. Yeah.
I'm going to do this. Okay. We have to do the drop. We still have some minor UI issues with the arrows.
On drop. Just so.
With the arrows. Yeah, or just certain scenarios.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we're going to do is on Tuesday, we'll add this piece so we can double click. I also want to do a show in message which protocol is used. We're going to do these final things on Tuesday, and then that's going to be really solid. And then we're going to work on this, doing that over the TCP connection.
I'm excited to see that.
Right.
Transferring an actual
and
file.
then we're going to want to do this also with encryption, right?
Yeah.
Though technically with like a tail scale, we could have a TLS based. It might be interesting because I've never done it. Honestly, come on, stop trying to help me. Terminate TLS connections. With on the TCP P2P. Maybe we'll get Florin back in. You know, this is something
Okay.
Tailscale could do, but I've never tried to actually do a TLS in Go. That might get something. It would be interesting to learn how to sort of do that with a cert and all that. I mean, we could generate our
Yeah.
own certs and or
Oh,
something. I don't know.
that would be
Maybe.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never done it, so this is where we get Florin again. So I think next week, Tuesday, we're gonna have this done. It's pretty cool what we've got working right now.
Yeah.
The client code needs a major cleanup, though. All right, just final notes for today. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna drop my tail scale. All that will go down,
Yep.
and I'm gonna come back here. So that client code is a mess, though. We're gonna have to spend some time cleaning that up. But the server side is really good. We now have the ability to establish a TCP connection. Know we have it. Know when it's dropping. We got to clean up some dumb UI issues there, but it's no big deal. And we've opened up that state sort of idea now too, so we've got that. We're really close. Maybe by the end of the month, we're going to have file transfers, encryption.
Very cool. I love the word encryption. It always feels like spooky spy stuff. Just saying the word.
All right. We're going to head out. Hope everybody enjoyed this sort of episode. We've got a really nice working sort of server. We got to get Mohammed on the Tailscale group, though, so we can
Yeah.
start doing some more with him. And Ivar, I'm sorry we didn't spend a lot of time talking to you. We're like 40, almost, I don't even know how many shows in, 25, 30.
This is 39. This is
almost
39.
40
Yeah.
shows in. So some of your questions were good, but at this point were hard to sort of answer. But go back through the whole thing and then you'll see. All right, gonna